Hey guys, this is Mark with Tech Necessity. Today I'm going to be showing you how you can use a mask in Final Cut Pro to create a wipe transition like this. Hey guys, before we get started, if you'd like to see more Final Cut Pro tutorials, motion tutorials, some Blender tutorials, and some product reviews, please subscribe to my channel. Let's get into it. Alright, so if you look at my timeline right here, I essentially have the clip that I used for my intro, where I swipe my arm in front of the camera like this, and then I swipe it back. Now I actually went in and I cut the clip here, right where I would need to make my mask actually come in, to make it a little easier for me, so I don't have to add a mask to this entire clip. I can just add it to this one small clip here. And then in order to swipe back, I actually cut out the portion before my arm starts coming back in, so you can see that's where my arm starts coming back in. Alright, so the first thing I need to do in order to create this effect is add a mask to this clip. So I'm going to actually zoom in here, press the Z key, zoom in right there. So this is what I'm going to be working on right here. Alright, so if I open up my go ahead and select these two clips, and then I'm going to open up my filters, and I'm going to double click on draw mask, and that's going to add it to both of these clips. So I can close this window now. So what I want to do first is I need to actually animate this mask to move with my arm across the screen like that. So I'm going to go to the first clip here. I'm going to select my clip in my timeline, and then if I go into my screen, you'll notice I have this little pen tool that will allow me to add my keyframes. Now I want to make sure that I can see outside of the actual frame, so I'm actually going to shrink this down, just change it to 25, so now I can see all of this outside of my frame as well. So what I want to do now is actually just kind of click and add my points for my mask. So I'm just going to go along. Now you can spend a lot more time on this, obviously, getting it to be perfect, zooming in even more, but I'm just going to go through this real quick just to give you an idea of what we would be doing. So as I go through this, and I'm just going to add a few more here because I know that I'm going to need those as this clip moves across the screen. And then I'm going to drag over to here, up here, and up here, and the same thing, I'm going to add a few more at the end here. There we go. So now I have my mask, and it's basically following the shape of my arm right here. So what I want to do now is I want to animate this, and in order to do that, I actually have to come over here to my inspector, and under control points, because I'm going to be moving these control points as I click through this frame by frame. So under control points, I need to add a keyframe so that it will automatically keyframe as I move these points across the screen. And then I'm also going to open up my transitions panel, drop down here, and I'm going to add a keyframe for position, because that will allow me to just drag this across the entire mask across, as well as opposed to adjusting each individual point, because there's going to be some times where I could just move this across and it'll almost line up. So the first thing I want to do, now that I have that first thing in position and I've set my keyframes, is I'm going to press the forward arrow to move one frame ahead. Now you noticed, so now I'm doing this. So now what I need to do is I need to adjust this mask so that it continues to line up with the shape of my arm. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually go over here to my position, and in the X position, I'm just going to drag up to move this to kind of line up a little bit with my arm again. So that's pretty close right there. What I'm going to do now is actually go in and adjust a few of these points. So this down here, you notice it's cutting off my arm now, so I'm just going to move these points out a little bit here. Move this one there, okay. And then up here, just a little bit. Like I said, you can spend a lot of time on this, getting it to be absolutely perfect, but it's such a quick wipe that, you know, honestly, it does not have to be 100% perfect. It's going to look good no matter what. Okay, so that's my next frame. So now I'm going to click one frame forward again by pressing the forward arrow key, And once again, I'm going to move my X position over a little bit, line that up as best I can. Okay, now I'm going to go in once again and adjust all of these little points. Now what I'm going to do first actually is I'm going to fast forward this video so you don't have to watch me do this all the way across, but you can take your time if you'd like, but just I'm going to speed this up for you. Alright, so now that I've done all that work for this animation, I'm actually going to zoom back in. I'm going to fit this to fill my screen. I'm going to go up here in my inspector and I'm going to turn off this little pen icon because I'm not going to be making any more adjustments to my mask. And now let's watch this. So as I watch it, you can see it swipes across. Now there is a few little spots where, you know, it gets a little bit funky because I didn't put a lot of time and effort into making this mask perfect. So what I can do to kind of help that is just feather it a little bit. So if I go into my mask settings and I just turn the feather up a little bit like that, you can see it kind of smooths out that edge a little bit. So now when I watch this back, you can see it wipes across like that. Alright, so now I just want to put some video underneath it. I'm actually just going to use a still image that I have here. So I'm actually going to use this Final Cut Pro logo that I have. So I'm going to drag that and just drop that underneath this so you can see that it actually wipes in like that. And you know what, I'm going to zoom this in a little bit just to make it stand out a little bit more. So I'm going to scale it up. There we go. Alright, so you can see if I play this back, it wipes in just like that. Well, I hope this video was helpful, and I'll see you next time on Tech Necessity.